host is your girl Lisa with a Z, and it is another Friday, and I am dropping a new episode, and we are talking about Undisputed Promotions. We're promoting the Clash of the Titan event, soon to come up on July 24th. Super excited about it. Welcome, Anthony Arvelo, to the Lisa with a Z podcast.
How y'all doing?
What's up? How are you doing today?
I'm good. Just getting ready. The countdown is on. July 24th. It's time.
It is. So today, right now, you're actually wrapping up some meetings, getting some final things going for the show. Can you tell us a little bit of details that are getting into the last final moments right before this show drops?
You know, just making sure that we get everything set, you know, for the fight fans, you know, when they're coming out for that experience. This is a different type of event than what usually fans go out to. They either go into an MMA show or they go into a boxing event. So to have both under one roof in one night is, you know, we got to make sure our ducks in a row and we got everything together for the fans and the fighters.
That's true. So how many boxing matches can we expect from the Undisputed side?
You know, right now we have 10 professional fights. So and very good fights with a lot of local fighters that are from here in Orlando, Kissimmee area. So and we also got some fighters in from Miami as well. So you can expect to see a lot of good fights, competitive fights, where you know both sides of the fight, both opponents are ready to fight and put up a show for everybody. They all got something to fight for.
Yeah. So just for our viewers to get a little bit of background history on you, tell us a little bit about how you got into the boxing industry.
I got into it because I used to compete. You know, from a young age, I was competing. I did amateur. And then I ended up turning professional late in my years. And then, you know, we did that. And then I just had something good going with the promotion. And I was able to put my vision in place. And a couple of years later, here we are.
So awesome. It's good to see the growth in athletes in general, because they can take their career into many different directions. You know, you start as an athlete, then you learn about being professional, you learn about the industry, you educate yourself. And then, you know, from being a boxer, then you could turn into a commentator. You could turn into having a promotion. You could turn into, you know, being a coach as well. So it's so, I love watching that journey for so many people. I mean, I'm very amateur boxer, but I love the journey that I go through as well. And in mixed martial arts, I just like to think I'm a combat sports athlete altogether. But and you know, then I do the media and I have the podcast, and it's like everybody has their own journey. And it all started with just applying yourself and getting into the fighting industry. And now look at us.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. I've been seeing your stuff too. It looks good. I've seen your interviews, and you know, in due time, you know, it'll expand. It'll be bigger than what it is. You know, so the same thing with me when I was doing amateur fights and doing the amateur shows on a professional platform. And you know, in the beginning, it was different. So you know, they weren't used to amateurs being promoted like professionals, but we were able to do that. My whole thing behind it was we had a slogan: "Today's amateurs, tomorrow's pros." And you know, I got that saying from my dad because it's the truth. It's like you're tomorrow's professionals, you know, so you got to train like one. And I was able to put that in place for the competitors in amateur. And we did a couple good shows, big shows that caught a lot of attention. And then I was like, man, we got to take it to the pros. And that's what we're doing now.
Will you have any amateur fighters on this card?
Yeah, definitely. I got a few amateurs on the card. I got Brandon Appleby's fighting Brian Tiato. Those guys are our local fighters. Brian trains at the UFC gym in Winter Springs, so we know he's got to represent for his crowd out there. You know, Brandon Appleby's at Evolution in Orlando, so that's, you know, they're doing big things as well. So they're trying to make names for themselves, and what better way to do it than on a big show like this?
It's true. You got to support your fighters from the beginning. People like to support you when you've already had your fame and your glory and you're winning the belts and things like that. But it's truly the people that support you from the beginning, you know, your sponsors, sponsors, your coaches, your sparring partners,
Yep.
your health coach, your family, and it's a great like success journey to see at the end when you are successful and you are professional and you see all of the fruits of your labor at that point.
Yep.
Now I have been to another Clash of the Titans event before. This was in Broward, and it was at the Broward College, and it was the first time I've been to an event like that where they had boxing and MMA at the same time. And it is pretty intriguing. There's so many things going on though. So like, I'm just like, okay, we got an MMA match going over here. We got a boxing match going over here. Like, which one do I keep up with? Because they're both good right now. And that's the best part, because like, they're both totally different sports, but they all have the same underline, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You put in all your work in the cage, in the ring, and one winner's gonna come out, and then one fighter's gonna come out with respect for the other fighter, and and that's how I see it, and I love to see that. So I'm excited about this show, especially this one. It's a pro card, and it's at the Caribe too.
Yeah, it's pro MMA and pro boxing. You know, you could have a big weekend of UFC fights, right? But you got no boxing going on, and then the next weekend you got a big boxing match, and now I think what's happened locally is me and Mitchell have been able to bring both worlds together. So the fan base is different. MMA fighters know the boxers that are locally now in the same way the other way, because a couple of years back, you know, boxers were like, oh, MMA, oh, that's MMA and all this stuff. But now it's like, oh, I know him. And oh, did you see that fight? So that's just that was the whole idea. And what we did it the first time. The first show that we did at Clash of the Titans was in 2018. We started the year off right. And then the one that you're talking about out of Miami, I had a great time that weekend. We just meeting different fans, meeting different fighters. I actually worked with different fighters from that Miami area, you know, to showcase them. So it was a great experience. You do have a lot going on. You got the MMA, you got the boxing, but it's like you got two of your favorite sports going on at the same time, and on your channel, you got a screen with one game playing and a screen with the other game playing. Meanwhile, here you got it all live. So, and all the fights that I put on, that Mitchell puts on, it's a treat for the fans. So it's blockbuster night.
It is, and like you got to give it to the matchmakers too, because they create matches that are just rememberable. Like they're memorable, and I just know that this card is gonna be like sick. I already know. Like I feel like I'm like super excited about it. Because the last fight night I went to at Caribe, you already know. You were in the building too for Combat Night, but you know, Combat Night, I got a rep for them. You know, I know they're gonna bring heat. I know, and I spoke with Richard about what he's doing and what he's formulating as far as his card is concerned. So, you know, you got competition, my friend.
I'm ready for it. You know, we that last time I had my show 2 weeks before Mitchell's.
Right.
And I think the Caribe saw firsthand what type of promotions we are. And you know, it's more than, it's great news to see that these two promotions can come together, because you know, you don't see that around. You don't see two promotions come together to put big events on. So, you know, with Mitchell, man, it's just something good that we put, and it's a treat for the fans. And then the fighters are on, they got to show out. You know what I mean? The boxing side got to show out. The fighters got to show out, not just for the fans, but just for the reputation of the sport.
Yeah, I feel you. I know it's going to be a good one. So, what can you expect for the rest of the year, other than, you know, I know you got a couple more events planned after Clash of the Titans. So what can we expect? Is it only going to stay in Orlando, or are you going to bring it back to Miami maybe, so I can start hooking up my boys down in Miami to get them a card too?
Yeah. I think a show, another Clash in Miami is something that we can do. I don't know about this year, because I know Mitchell has a busy schedule, and we just signed a couple fights, so we got a busy schedule coming up too. But yeah, I mean, definitely want to take it back to Miami. We had a great time out there, so it was a really good experience. The fight fans are great in Miami. So, definitely down the line, looking forward to going back out there. But for this year, we have I have a few fights lined up, a few shows lined up, and I won't release the dates just yet. But for sure, November 13th, we do have a date. But there's going to be shows before that. We just want to take care of the July 24th, get that out the way, and then we'll start releasing the dates for the future shows.
What do you think about your female boxing fighters? Because I know shows too.
Yeah, I have. I've had on professional side, I've had a female fight every show, and I that's always a priority. We always want to have that. They're fighters. They take the risk just the same way as the male fighters do. So having them to have the opportunity to shine is always good. But we've had some pretty good ones. We had for my show back in November, we had Logan Holler was undefeated. That was a good fight. That is a co-main event. For we had on my last show, we had Jasmine Artiga. She's another undefeated fighter. And that fight was really interesting because to see these two female fighters want to really get at each other, the fans were excited. So, and the fight lived up to it. It ended in a knockout, so it was pretty good.
You know what? Like, the ladies put on a good show. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Guys put on good shows, but myself included, like I give it my all. The second I'm in there, it is on to the minute I'm off. And I've just seen that with sport. I love watching girl fights. They're just a little bit more entertaining. At least.
Yeah. They come to fight. That's sure.
Yeah. What advice can you give like amateur fighters that are really trying to come up and get on cards just like you? Because it is pretty tough to get the recognition. And I know there's a lot of people out here that are maybe just starting to develop their career, or maybe that passion for boxing or MMA. And they just don't know how to promote themselves or market themselves or talk to, CEOs and promoters like you to get your attention. Like, hey, and they may have the talent, but they just don't know, or they're shy, or they're just new. What advice can you give somebody to like approach you about getting on a card? Like,
I think if you have to put your work out there, your training and what you do. And sometimes you could ask for the opportunity. You could tell someone how much you deserve the opportunity, but talking and doing are two different things. So I think the best way to go about it is to show them what you got, show them your training, show them your work ethic. Always make weight when you get to the scale. When you're working with these promoters, and we're in a tough position, to put this show together, not just for the fighters, but for the fans. There's a lot that comes along with it. But when you're an athlete that has your licenses, your weight is right, your training is right, and we know that you're ready and you're coming to perform, eventually those promoters, those managers, those people are going to be reaching out to you. They're going to be calling for you and asking for you to get on the card, or give you an opportunity. So I think instead of telling them, show them.
I like that.
Amateurs right now too, there's so much talent out there. It's so much talent, but what separates the talent from the guys that actually get the opportunity is how hard you work for it, and what you're putting in. If you're putting in and day out, sacrificing, and you're dedicating yourself to it, there's no way an opportunity is not going to knock on your door.
Yeah, you can't half-ass the fight life. That's for sure.
No, you definitely not. That's the best way to put it. That's the best way to put it. Yeah, you can't half-ass it. You got to go for it.
Myself, because like there's many opportunities like that I could have. It's all about my mindset, my work ethic, and how much I want it. So I definitely know that. But for me, I'm not trying to be a fighter. People would love to see it, but I'm more in the media, and like I do it for fun or for charity and for a good cause.
Right.
And but I still train no matter what. Like I take it seriously, and we'll see what happens. I have some people trying to whisper in my ear to get going, but who knows?
Try it out. Have you had any fights yet?
So I've done a couple exhibition. I did a last month, May 1st. I did a charity boxing event, and we raised money for suicide awareness. And it was against a very experienced coach. She did MMA, but she's also a boxing coach. And she actually chose me to spar her in that event. And I was pretty flattered because she had observed me. And the thing is, like, what I put on social media is not my actual talents. You know, I don't put all my talents on social media because I've worked with other coaches privately. And then once they see, like, oh, wow, like, I didn't know that you had this talent. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't like to show off like that.
Yeah.
I keep it humble so that way when time comes, like, you're going to get hit. Like, you're not going to know what's coming. So that's my secret sauce.
Don't show secrets.
Well, Anthony, I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to talk to you today, finally. Man. I'm looking forward to July 24th at the Caribe. I know it's going to be a hot event. You're going to bring the heat, all the best fighters in town. You guys, if you have not purchased a ticket, you need to buy it now. It's going to be sold out. There is a pay-per-view link that's going to be up. Check them out. Follow Undisputed Promotions on Instagram. Follow Anthony. Is there anything you want to say to the viewers final about this event?
You know, first of all, thank you for having me and being patient to get. I know we tried a few times, but I appreciate you reaching out and having me on your show. And to the fighters and to the fans. I mean, I know the fighters already. I communicate with them every day. And, the coaches, it's just a great thing to see everybody come together. But on July 24th, the fight fans are going to be in full effect. Boxing has a lot to show out, and I'm sure MMA does. And, me and Mitchell work very hard on bringing a spectacle, and that's what's coming down July 24th. So get your tickets because the tickets have been moving very quick. So on fight night, there'll hopefully be tickets at the door. But get your tickets in advance because it's going to be a good one.
I think it's going to be sold out before we even get to fight night, to be honest. But
is there a specific fight you're looking for?
Oh, in the boxing matches? I know this. I think you just announced his fight. Zuvi is one that I'm looking forward to. And
he's fighting Corey Marksman.
Yeah, he's actually really nice. He walked me to my car one time, like in Orlando. Like he was doing security, and like it was a late night. He came and he like did security, walked me to my car. He didn't have to, but he did. But that goes to show you, like, you can be a badass and you can be sweet too at the same time.
So you guys know who Zuvi is. I like that fight with him and Corey Marksman for a couple of reasons because Corey's making his professional debut. But it's been a fight that's a long time coming. He's had the chance a couple of times and it never happened. A couple of his amateur fights didn't go his way, and that could take a lot out of a fighter.
Yeah.
So for him to actually now step up and make his professional debut at home, this is Zubi's home too. But they both have something to fight for because talking with Javier, Zubi's talking with him, he's like he didn't get a fair shake on his first fight. And he's been looking for a fair shake. He knows who Corey is. So I think it's a 50-50 fight. It's going to be good.
There's something that I learned, and somebody gave me good advice the other day because I have a lot of friends that are amateurs. And sometimes when they lose, it does take a toll. When you lose, it takes a toll emotionally. We're human. It's natural to feel that. Even I lost my fight 4 points. But even if I lost, I didn't feel like a loser. I put in everything that I needed to in the ring. So as amateurs, they're doing so much to build that record to go professional. But what somebody told me is that once you go professional, you're back to 0-0. Doesn't matter. So it's like now that's when you really, really have to prove. So I love watching the professionals are on their debut because they're going to come in hot. That's going to be a fight.
And when you got another fighter that, because in Zubi's first fight, it was against, a very good fighter, a guy that the promotion was moving and stuff like that. I mean, it was up to him to take the fight. He took it. He knew the risk, but it didn't go his way. So, now he's got the opportunity. All right, now you got a chance to show what you got. Let's see. But you're going up against a guy who this is the start of his career. you know, so he has to get a victory. But Zuby's ready to change that up. I'm ready for that fight. I got a couple guys on there. Danny Suarez, he's 2-0. That's going to be a good one. He's from Kissimmee representing. You know, we got Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is 2-0. He's fighting another fighter that's 2-0. So it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a great night.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, guys, you have tuned into another episode to the Lisa with the Z podcast. Stay tuned for more and have a good one, folks.
Thank
you. The boxing MMA guy? Not in this building. Not in this building, guys. You know, it may not be in this building, but we all know when it's just the hands, boxing's always going to get the best side of it. You know what I mean? I have respect to MMA. Got a lot of respect for them, but on Clash of the Titans, we're going to see the best in boxing and MMA. I love it, Mitchell. Let's do it.